85mm lenses. You either love them or you hate them. For me, they have been my go-to lens for portrait and for interviews for a very long time. Often this lens finds its way in the bags of many photographers across the board, and rightfully so. Hi guys, my name is Regnal and welcome to my channel. First of all, thank you so much for coming here and taking the time to watch this video. Today I have an 85-1.8 STM lens for the Sony emount made by Viltrox. Shout out to the reliable store for making this review possible. However, this is not a paid promotion. With that out of the way, let's get this review started. This is the first autofocus lens made by Viltrox, who is fairly new in the lens manufacturers club for the emount. Currently in this space, the lenses available are the Sony 85-1.8, the Sony 85 G Master 1.4, the Zeiss Batis and the Zeiss Loxia. There is a Samyang 85-1.4 and the beastly Sigma 85-1.4. This 85 is the cheapest lens available in this lineup. So let's see if it has what it takes to cut it with the big boys. Viltrox have gone for a very minimalistic design approach with this lens. It has this semi-glossy black finish that makes it look very premium. There are no buttons on the outside of this lens, just this massive focus ring that is very smooth and well damped. It has some engraved painted markings on the lens. Viltrox have also added a micro USB port over here, which I believe is for the firmware updates of this lens. One lens that this Viltrox will be compared to the most is the Sony 85-1.8. Immediately you can see that the Sony has a smaller focus ring compared to the Viltrox. Sony also adds the two buttons over here, which is the AF, MF switch and a customizable button here that can be used to activate the eye detect feature, which is pretty neat. The Viltrox has a 72mm filter thread while the Sony has a 67mm filter thread. The minimum focus distance of both these lenses is almost the same at 2.6 feet. Viltrox weighs around 630 grams while the Sony weighs 395 grams. So that's roughly a 200-gram difference. Both of them are not weather sealed, something that you should bear in mind. They do not have the weather sealing gasket at the end over here. Viltrox have successfully reverse engineered the autofocus motors in this lens to take complete advantage of Sony's eye detect feature, which is not an easy task. In my testing, I would say the lens was neck and neck with the Sony 85-1.8, but the point still goes to Sony. The Sony's 85 being a native lens, the autofocus was just a little bit better on the Sony lens compared to the Viltrox, but the Viltrox really wasn't far behind in that aspect. Firstly, a video autofocus test. Here I'm using the Sony 85-1.8 in video mode. So let's see how fast this lens focuses. I have the Viltrox at almost close focus distance and the Sony definitely seems to keep nailing focus every time. Now I'll quickly change over to the Viltrox and let's see how that does. Now I have the Viltrox 85-1.8 for this video autofocus test. So let's have a look how this one does. Again, it seems pretty responsive and pretty fast. It just feels a little bit unsure at times, but it really snaps focus. Yeah. Again, the Sony is almost at close focusing distance. This is just a little unsure, but in terms of usability, it is almost as good as the Sony, just a little bit behind Sony. Sony obviously being a native lens, but this is very good performance here. I have dimmed the lights down here to kind of simulate a pretty low light situation that a photographer might see himself in. And I must say I am pretty impressed. The lens is still grabbing on focus, which is not at all bad. I think safely you can say that this can be used for weddings and low light situations. In my opinion, this is one of the best value 85mm lenses for the Sony emount available today. There isn't much price gap between this and the Sony 85-1.8. Do let me know in the comments what do you think and which lens would you go for. If you found this video helpful, do like and subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Till then, be safe and be creative.